Hey everyone, Dr. Byrne here for another episode of Revive TV. Today we're talking tech neck, not bananas, and how, and especially for our children, how it is affecting their spines and potentially affecting their health. Thanks for joining me. And this episode is really for parents with young children, for people who are dealing with children, whether it's kids at school and things like that, but also for all people, walks of life. But particularly we're going to target children today. So before we get into tech neck, and you'll see here I'm holding a banana and give you a reference as to why I'm doing that, let's talk about a little bit about what tech neck is. Most people have an awareness of what it is, but let's just give it a definition. So the way I'd like to define it is that there's a neck pain or discomfort associated with the overuse of technology. So the way I would like to describe it is neck pain or discomfort associated with the overuse of technology, and particularly with the position that our head takes when we're using it. So from a side view, it would look a little bit like this, where our head is forward, we're looking down, and it causes stress on the neck. At the back of the neck, it causes stress on the spine itself. And I suppose it's not so much the short term, it's how that affects us in the long term. And specifically, we're going to talk about how it affects kids today. So let me start, and I'm going to use this banana now. Let me start by just showing you what it should look like, your neck ideally look like if you're in, if it was working properly. So we're going to talk about it from a side view. So I'm looking this way. What we'd like is from that view there, that our necks are shaped a little bit like this banana, where the top of the banana and the bottom of the banana sit over the top of each other, but there's this little curve that exists in it. Now, when our necks are like that, it allows the mechanics of the neck, the movement of the neck, to be nice and smooth. It's like the joints glide effortlessly and easily over one another. Also, the muscles and the ligaments that are attached to them work just as efficiently as they need to. Just not too much energy, not too little energy, just the right amount. But what happens is if our neck starts to lose that curve, if it starts to stop looking like a banana and start looking like something straight like this, so going from this to this, well, a few things happen mechanically. So the way the joints interact with one another when we move is a little different. They can sometimes start to grind, they can sometimes start to lock or block, and as we move and continue to move in those positions, we can start to get some degenerative change over time. So that's the mechanical aspect. The other aspect is what goes on in the nervous system. So if I just take this banana again and look at the neck, at the back of the neck that runs down is a spinal cord, which is housed within the little bones, okay, all the way down. And when it's in that natural curve, it's nice and relaxed. And what that means is that any communication that's passing through there to the brain or back out again is allowed to be as efficient as it possibly can. And as we know, the nervous system controls every function of our body. So the healthier and happier the nervous system is, the healthier and happier we're going to be. So wherein lies the challenge? Well, over prolonged use of having our head in a forward position, and technology is certainly at the forefront of that, it starts to make those mechanical changes and can start to have effects on our nervous system function as well. So let's think about this from a little person's perspective. Now, I didn't start using technology like a phone till I was at least in my late teens, probably 18, 19, and certainly not the way we use them now, which is to kind of do everything in them. You know, we can work off them. When I first started, it was really just to make a phone call and send a text. There was no photos or anything like that. It was just purely a receive a call and send a message type of scenario. But now we can work on it. Some of you will be watching this video on your device, maybe with your head down. So as little people who are coming into our world now, we've got two young children ourselves, 11 and 8, they are exposed to that at a lot younger age. And like most parents, we go through the same challenges that you do, which is how much should they be on it? And, you know, not only just from, probably not thinking about it from a neck perspective, just thinking about it from a, let's get outside and play type of perspective. But I want to talk about it more from a mechanical perspective and from an overall health perspective that might help you shift the conversation with your children. So one of the things that I have found in practice as a chiropractor, and it's not a hard and fast rule, but it's a general rule, is that the innate messaging system to tell us that we have a problem with a mechanical problem, pain, tends to take longer in children than it does in an adult. Okay, so in an adult, we've probably built up over time, we've got these changes, and now when we start to go in the wrong spot, we feel it. Whereas children, when you think about it, when you were a child, you'd hurt yourself and you'd recover straight away. You never had never felt like you had a problem. However, the challenges with pain is that the function, the changes that have already started to occur before the pain exists. So what we're trying to do now is to talk about prevention of this. How do we prevent this from happening? Because as I said before, if you lose the shape of the neck, the mechanics, the way things move, can start to change, and long term, there can be some degenerative change and significant degenerative change. And also, and more importantly in our eyes, it affects the function of your nervous system. It needs to be nice and relaxed in a straightened neck. It starts to put tension on it, and it diminishes the messages, diminishes the communication. You're just not as optimal as you can be. So what can we do as parents to help our children from preventing these problems long term? Now, there's a few things. The first one is obvious, is to limit the time. Okay, we're not going to avoid technology. In fact, technology is our friend. It helps us do a lot of things, so we're not going to avoid it, but we maybe avoid the amount of time. And if that's a challenge, which it is, I know in my household it's a challenge, then the next best thing is how they are looking at things. So especially let's go, if they're looking at a smaller device like an iPhone or a smartphone or a tablet, most of the time we're going to be looking down at it. So, but if we can do things like elevate it, or we can cast it to a TV, or we can cast it onto a bigger computer screen where they can look up, that's going to take out that tension on that neck. You can also do that in cars. If people are traveling with cars, in cars with technology, if you can put them on the back of the headrest of the front seats, that's going to allow that to happen as well. What we do with adults who start to lose that, we start to do some exercises with that as well. I mean, later episodes will show you those things, but the avoidance or decreasing the amount we're doing is probably the easiest thing you can do with children at the moment, because they're not probably going to do a lot of exercises to correct it as well. So in terms of correcting it, limit the time, change the angle of the device, and the third thing you can do is get someone to check it. Whether it's a chiropractor, whether it's a physiotherapist, an osteopath, just get a health professional to check your child to see whether they do have forward head posture or this potential to have this loss of curve down the track. So limit the time, change the angle, get someone to assess it, and you're going to be in good order. The last thing I want to say is this: we haven't discussed the other side effects of being on it. But just a funny thing that happens in our house is when our kids are on devices, it does seem to change their personalities as well. In our family, we call it eye rage. I'm sure Apple are happy with that because we've named it eye something. But we call it eye rage because it certainly affects the way our children behave when they're on it for too long. And that'll be a topic of conversation on another day. So thanks for watching. Let's make sure we keep our bananas nice and curved and our necks nice and curved. Thanks for watching. See you again. Bye.